opening remarks that he would like to make.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Let me begin by associating myself with your remarks about our distinguished chairman, Ms. Lowy, and about our esteemed colleague, Ms. Shalala. You're exactly right. These are two of the very best members that we have, and we are going to miss them both tremendously when they go on to other things. But somehow I think the country will continue to benefit from their service. I have no doubt about it. Today's bill, Mr. Chairman, or today's bill is one that we've been waiting for quite some time. We're here today to consider a package of 12 bipartisan bicameral spending bills that will complete the appropriations process for fiscal year 2021. We're also considering, as part of the same bill, a bipartisan pandemic relief package, as well as other critical items. This will not only complete the appropriations process for fiscal year 2021, but it will also ensure that millions of Americans who've lost their jobs as a result of this pandemic will get the support and help that they need and deserve. It's been a long road getting to this point. Winston Churchill is purported to have said that that Americans will always do the right thing after they've exhausted every other possibility. And Congress sometimes seems to function that way. But I'm pleased that in the end, the hard work on the part of members and staff on both sides of the aisle and in both chambers of Congress has resulted in a bill that will provide real help to Americans during this time of crisis. I know there'll be some who say that this package is not perfect. No bill ever is. But it's a good compromise and absolutely necessary. As an appropriator, I've often said that one of the primary responsibilities of Congress is to fund the government and keep it open so they continue to provide essential services to our constituents that they so rightly deserve. When the House and the Senate complete their consideration of this package, we will have fulfilled that responsibility. At the end of the day, success in the appropriations process requires members on both sides of the aisle and in both chambers of Congress to reach consensus and have the president's support as well. Today, I'm very pleased we have all worked together to finally conclude this process. The bill before us reflects key bipartisan priorities. It includes key provisions supporting our response to the pandemic, like $20 billion of coronavirus vaccines, an increase in funding for the National Institute of Health, and a further $3 billion to rebuild the strategic national stockpile of medical supplies and personal protective equipment. It fully funds our defense needs and ensures a 3% pay raise for all military personnel. It continues to fund needed improvements for border security, particularly on the southern border. And perhaps most importantly, it maintains all pro-life protections, as has been the case in previous years. And the harmful partisan riders that appeared in the Democrats' partisan appropriations bills from earlier this year have been removed. These successes could only have been achieved through a bipartisan process. I would also like to note that unlike the coronavirus relief bill, that's also part of this package. The omnibus appropriations bill came about as part of regular order. These bills were the subject of regular committee meeting hearings in both the House and the Senate, and were subjected to regular floor action in the House and negotiation between the houses. It is a reminder of how effective regular order can be. And I want to commend Chairwoman Nita Lowy and Ranking Member Kay Granger of the Appropriations Committee for their hard work and dedication. We would not have been able to get to this point but for these two exceptionally capable members. I also want to acknowledge that, barring an unexpected calamity, this is Chairwoman Lowy's last meeting before the Rules Committee. We thank you for all your work for the House, for your district, and for our country, and we'll miss you greatly. I'm also pleased that this package before us includes a bipartisan compromise on surprise medical billing. This is an issue I know each member hears about from a lot of constituents. I'm gratified that we've reached a deal that will address this problem, will ensure health consumers have all the information that they are entitled to, and will prevent patients from being billed after the fact for medical services when they had no choice in the doctor that they had to see. Today's bill includes a $900 billion coronavirus pandemic relief package. Once again, this bill represents a bipartisan compromise, and one that, frankly, we should have done months ago. And indeed, this bill could have been done months ago. Most of the elements of this package could have been passed across the floor on a bipartisan basis as far back as July. But instead, it was the Speaker's insistence on her way or the highway that kept us in legislative paralysis for months. Instead of working together to pass what we could agree on, Speaker forced the House to vote on massive partisan bills one that cost over $3.25 trillion. That included every partisan Democratic policy writer that could be imagined. Of course, it didn't have to be this way. Neither the previous partisan bills nor the relief package in front of us came about through regular order. In no instance did committees produce legislation, nor did members have a chance to amend, question, or fully examine the product in question. There's a saying that's attributed to an African proverb: if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Twice earlier this year, the House tried to go it alone, voting both times on partisan coronavirus relief bills that stood no chance of becoming law, and twice those bills went nowhere. That legislative inaction cost the American people deeply. For months, relief that should have been flowing to Americans harmed by the pandemic was stalled here in Washington for no other reason than because the deal might have benefited President Donald Trump during an election year. That is unfortunate. But now that we are all going forward together, we're taking up this bill, which I believe will be passed by both houses of Congress and signed into law. Today's relief bill includes several provisions specifically designed to help Americans who have suffered as a result of the pandemic. It extends the Paycheck Protection Program and provides additional relief to small businesses. It includes an extension of pandemic unemployment insurance, providing relief to the millions of Americans whose businesses have closed or who have been out of work due to the pandemic. And it includes direct payments that will go to most Americans. As we begin vaccinating Americans against coronavirus, I'm hopeful that the end of the pandemic is in sight. Unfortunately, it's certainly not over yet. And until it is, millions of Americans are likely to continue to need help. But today, finally, that help is on the way. And I think all concerned with that can be proud of their effort. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
I thank the gentleman. He yields back.